All right. So, unfortunately, over the last couple of days, I have been pretty sick. I did take a couple of COVID tests. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like it's that, but bear with me here as my voice is sort of still in recovery mode. But I want to go ahead and get into some of the stories that I wanted to talk about today. First on the list is Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, and obviously the owner of the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. And believe it or not, that is not a porn site. It is the same social media platform. And this man, Elon Musk, has decided to essentially go to war with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, for essentially, in his view, I guess, sort of conspiring to tank the value of Twitter or X by trying to get advertisers to flee from the platform by accusing him of being anti-Semitic or allowing anti-Semitic people on X. So here from The Guardian, they got sort of a basic rundown in terms of what's been going on. So they start off here. They say Elon Musk has threatened to sue the Anti-Defamation League after accusing the US-based civil rights group that campaigns against anti-Semitism and bigotry of trying to kill his X social media platform. So, I mean, already there are just so many funny things about this. First off, I just want to get this out of the way. I am not like fully endorsing all of the takes and the opinions of the ADL. This is an organization that, as far as I've seen, frequently likes to conflate any criticism of the government of Israel or their war crimes or their human rights abuses or their ethnic cleansing or apartheid and conflate that with somehow being anti-Semitic or criticizing Jewish people. So I definitely do not endorse the ADL by any stretch of the imagination, but they do also, genuinely call out, actual bigotry and actual Nazis. And basically, I think it's hilarious that Elon Musk is trying to put forward this idea that it is solely because of the ADL, I guess, sort of going around to these advertisers or putting out public reports about extremism or Nazis being on the platform, that is solely responsible for the downfall of advertisers wanting to be on the platform instead of, I don't know, any of the actions that we've covered on this channel that Elon Musk has taken since taking over this, social media platform. So, I mean, that to me is just absolutely hilarious. I mean, how many bizarre and random and stupid moves has this man made since he took over? I mean, the premium subscription model, even though that is sort of, I guess, his attempt to move away from the advertiser model, has been a complete abject failure just with the pure numbers of the amount of people who do not want to be associated with Elon Musk and with this platform refusing to sign up from this. I mean, he literally went and was forcing some of the most famous people in the world to have some of those blue check marks to try to sort of like give it a little bit more of a sense of legitimacy. And then on top of it, I mean, you could even point out just the fact that he decided to change the name from Twitter to X, and that in and of itself, that one single move probably destroyed billions and billions of dollars in global brand recognition. So again, the idea that like it's not the chaos and the decision making of Elon Musk that is getting advertisers to flee, it's actually people who are calling out some of the content on the platform, that's the reason the advertisers are fleeing. I mean, it's completely delusional, right? But what else would you expect from a guy like Elon Musk? They continue here, though. They say the owner of X, formerly known as Twitter, said that the ADL was trying to shut down his company by, quote, falsely accusing it and me of being anti-Semitic. They say in a series of posts on X, Musk said that advertising sales for the business were down 60%. And based on what we've heard from advertisers, the ADL seems to be responsible for most of our revenue loss. I mean, again, he's just sort of pulling this out of his ass. We don't have any actual, direct evidence of any of this. This is just him saying what advertisers have been telling him, and I guess he's insinuating that they're telling him that the ADL is putting pressure on them to pull their advertisements from the site. I mean, personally, I don't know how much of a degree of influence that has, but I think at the end of the day, this is just a business decision for these companies. So it seems like Elon Musk is sort of confused about who he should be mad at in this kind of a circumstance. He's mad at the ADL and is trying to sue them for defamation, but these are basically just ad companies or companies in general who don't really want their advertisements to be next to, like, I don't know, Andrew Tate tweet of him saying that women should be subservient to men, or like any number of the other bizarre, like, right-wing extremist content that ends up getting promoted in the X algorithm since his decision to promote people who pay for verification. I mean, like, that's sort of what this boils down to. So it seems like what he really should be mad at is just sort of the business model of Twitter, or the business model of X, or sort of capitalism in general. Because again, it's not as if they have something like personal against Elon Musk. It's just a decision in terms of where they want to spend their money on advertising. And he's basically made this platform a place where it, in their view, is no longer suitable for that. So, I mean, that is what it is. That's just sort of like the business model that you have constructed. And again, he has this under private ownership. I mean, this is his personal company at this point. And so that's the reality of this. I mean, this isn't, a government-run institution or a government-regulated institution where like free speech reigns above all, and the advertising dollars don't matter. No, this is it's a company. That's how they've decided to run these social media platforms. And so of course there's going to be this sort of outside pressure. That's just a reality of the business model, right? But they continue. They say, the world's richest man also indicated that he would sue the group for defamation, posting on X that it looks like we have no choice but to file a defamation lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League. Oh, the irony. And he followed up in response to another person's tweet, in response to this one, where he said he was basically going to try to sue them for upwards of, I'm not even kidding here, $22 billion with a B. $22 billion. Again, because he's attributing the entirety of the loss of advertiser dollars to the ADL and not any of the bizarre and delusional decisions that he has made since taking over Twitter. I mean, again, it's just completely ridiculous. There's absolutely no chance in the world that he would win that sort of a settlement. And honestly, it doesn't look like he's going to win any settlement whatsoever, especially given how difficult it is to actually win a defamation case given the current state of the laws here in the United States. But they continue here. They say, Musk recently sued another anti-hate speech group, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, in a lawsuit accusing it of damaging X's relationship with advertisers, and the CCDH has said that it will fight the lawsuit and keep holding Twitter's feet to the fire. In his post on Tuesday, Musk added that, to be super clear, he was in favor of free speech, but against anti-Semitism of any kind. And there was also a period yesterday, and I think it's actually still happening right now, on Twitter, where the hashtag #BanADL was trending, and ironically, a literal Nazi Nick Fuentes had a large degree of influence in sort of getting that hashtag up and running. But then he also followed that up by posting, maybe we should do a poll on this in terms of whether or not to ban the ADL from the platform. So in other words, the free speech absolutist guy is floating the idea of potentially banning the ADL from his platform for speaking out against the content on his platform. Now, again, you could disagree with the ADL, you could agree with Elon Musk and say anybody and everybody who has, regardless of how abhorrent your positions are, should be allowed to speak on this platform. If you have that view, that's fine. But at the same time, this is the business model. Again, this is not a public company. This is a privately run organization, right? And so they have this business model. So there's a conflict here between these two ideals that Elon Musk says he wants to fight for, right? Oh, I want to be the free speech absolutist, but then I don't want advertisers to react to some of the content that's on my platform. I mean, that's just a reality of the business that you decided to run. So I mean, it's incredibly ironic. And again, don't get it twisted. He is absolutely not a so-called free speech absolutist. I mean, this is a guy who has helped authoritarian countries around the world censor certain content on Twitter. There was a major story that just dropped recently where apparently Twitter was literally giving information to the Saudi Arabian government to go after. And now it looks like this man who's being targeted in Saudi Arabia may be killed for some of the things that he was posting or retweeting over on Twitter. So, I mean, again, he's not a free speech absolutist. This man literally set up a pay to speak sort of a standard on his platform where if you don't pay him the $8, $11 a month, then you are not going to be promoted in the algorithm in the same way as other people who do. And also another part about that sort of like the reason there was this verification process beforehand, which is something I didn't even really like necessarily about the previous pre-Elon Musk Twitter. I didn't really like the standards for who gets verified, who doesn't like, or who doesn't get verified on Twitter before he took over. But then he basically just took that model and he was like, okay, I don't like the previous version, so now I'm just going to make it whoever pays me a certain amount gets verified, which just completely destroyed the entire reason for why there was verification, right? Even though I didn't like the model before he took over, it was also useful because at least okay, the verification means this person is who they say they are. And, maybe there's some, public person who's tied to some organization that you should be aware of or something like that. Now you don't have any of that. And I know this from personal experience from some of the blue checks who end up in my reply section on this platform. And it's just some of the most deranged people with outright, in many cases, like racist or violent takes on this platform. And these are just people who pay that subscription fee, and you have no way to discern like who's actually who they say they are or anything like that. There's no real standard here at the end of the day. It's just who paid him that money on a monthly basis. And so again, that's just another, indication in terms of why people are seeing this as sort of a chaotic platform and why advertisers may not want to be on it as much under his leadership, right? But they continue down here. They say the ADL describes itself as the world's leading anti-hate organization and says its mission is to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment to all. Again, I've outlined sort of my disagreements with them on certain specific topics, but they say, according to the group, anti-Semitic posts on X increased sharply after Elon Musk bought the site in October of 2022, and the platform subsequently reinstated extremists and conspiracy theorists. And, I'll link this entire article down below if you want to go look at who they list as these extremists and conspiracy theorists, while allowing the harassment of former members of its now dissolved Trust and Safety Council. And so again, it's just this conflict, right? I mean, you could say, okay, people should be allowed to say whatever they want on this platform. Okay, that's totally fine. But if you're going to have these people on the platform, then advertisers are going to take that into a calculation in terms of whether or not they want to put their ads next to that kind of a content, next to that kind of content. I mean, it's really that simple. But they say one legal expert said that Musk could attempt to sue for defamation under U.S. state law, but it is unlikely to succeed, saying, quote, whether or not someone is anti-Semitic is fundamentally a matter of opinion, which is protected expression. Elon's threat of litigation seems to be an effort to dissuade the ADL from perpetuating a message that he does not like. Again, not very free speech of Elon Musk, targeting a group for saying things that he happens to disagree with and saying that's defamation and I'm going to try to sue you for $22 billion goddamn dollars, right? They say Linda Yaccarino, the chief executive of X, who's basically just this fall guy or fall woman who Elon Musk put in place as the CEO to sort of deflect away from some of the criticisms of himself personally, even though he's still making all of these major decisions at Twitter, right? And she said last month that the platform had become a safer place under Musk's ownership. And she says, by all objective metrics, X is a much healthier and safer platform than it was a year ago. Not exactly sure by what metrics you're talking about there, or what you mean by healthier and safer platform. I mean, from my personal experience, I have been seeing ever since Elon Musk took over a significant degree of more deranged content popping up in my feed, especially if you go to the For You tab again, because a lot of these people who are the, quote unquote extremists or people who are posting, Nazi shit or racist shit on their timeline, they can just pay for a verification and then they're going to be a lot more likely to show up in your feed. That's how he has constructed this new algorithm. And so, yeah, I have been seeing a lot more insane shit on my timeline. Now, again, it's a different conversation to say whether or not those people should be banned, but he's not only not banning them, he's promoting them in the algorithm in many circumstances. But they say Yaccarino, a highly respected TV advertising executive, okay, just jerk her off a little more, was appointed in May with the task of restoring relations with advertisers as a priority. Not going too well. And in 2021, advertising accounted for 90% of X's revenue, but that income stream has been hit by companies pausing ad spending over doubts about Elon Musk's leadership. So again, they're pausing it because Elon Musk is making the decisions that he has been, right? If he had come in and just sort of like made some, aesthetic adjustments and, sort of change some of the policies around the edges or something, this wouldn't have happened, right? This isn't because the ADL is calling out the content on the platform. It's because of the decisions and Elon Musk's leadership style that this has happened, right? But he has no ability to look inward and to sort of like accept some of the blame for himself, right? And, actually sort of make the adjustments. If you want to go with a different model and you want to rely on not, or you don't want to rely on having this advertiser money as your main source of revenue, that's totally fine. You can try to shift the business model, but now you're turning around and getting mad at the advertisers. And just another reminder in terms of why these advertisers may be a little spooked by Elon. Here from the Economic Times, they say Elon Musk threatens thermonuclear name and shame of advertisers who back out of Twitter. So, I mean, again, like these are the kinds of things that you are saying, right? So then don't be surprised when advertisers get spooked, right? These are your words. These are your actions. This is your style of leadership. And that's why they've been sort of backing off this platform, right? It doesn't have to do necessarily with the ADL or any other so-called anti-hate speech organization that is tanking your ad revenue, okay? But he continues. They say the car maker Audi and the pharmaceutical group Pfizer were among the brands that have boycotted X amid concerns about the platform's stance on content. X has reinstated previously banned users such as the misogynist influencer Andrew Tate, and also botched a relaunch of its subscription product, which resulted in a spate of imposter accounts. An ADL spokesperson said that the organization does not comment on legal threats as a matter of policy. So, I mean, again, this entire situation is completely ridiculous. I don't think that Elon Musk has a single chance in hell at actually winning, especially not a $22 billion defamation suit against the ADL. Maybe this is his attempt, I guess, at sort of trying to like pressure them to stop, pointing out some of the content that's on his platform. But, this is the deal that you made when you decided to allow a lot more of these, controversial people or misogynist people or, racist people or dog whistling people back onto the platform. That's going to happen. Advertisers are not going to want their ads to be next to some of the most deranged people in the world posting on this platform. I mean, it's really that simple. So you either got to figure out a different business model, or you got to, figure out how to actually implement some sort of terms and services. Now, again, I don't think that this is a platform, or any social media platform for that matter, that should be able to just simply be bought by like a single guy, one of the wealthiest guys or the single wealthiest guys in the entire world. I don't think that, especially if you're somebody who believes in free speech, that we should allow the parameters of a free speech platform like Twitter to be under the control of a single human being. I mean, that's completely ridiculous, especially, again, given the, decisions that he has been making recently, especially with the pay to play sort of aspect of what he considers to be free speech. So, I mean, again, we'll have to see how this goes. I don't think his lawsuit's going to be successful, but, here is Elon Musk essentially declaring war on the ADL. It's honestly very entertaining to watch.